the 40 Plus Podcast.
Yes, welcome y'all. How is everybody doing? Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Mario J. Brown.
And I'm your host, Kimberly Marie Brown.
And this is the hangout spot where we touch and inspire those who are 40 plus.
We're going to have deep and inspirational conversations on faith, family,
finance, career, and relationships.
I'm so excited because this week, guess who is in the building?
Take a wild guess, y'all. Who y'all think we got today?
Mario J. Brown.
Drum roll. Oh, I didn't get to do my drum roll.
Oh, drum roll, please.
Mario J. Brown and
Kimberly Marie Brown.
Yours truly. So this episode, you're going to get a chance to get to know us a little bit better. Some of you guys have been asking, hey, when are y'all coming back on? And, you know, you've enjoyed our guests, and we're so excited and thankful that we've been able to, you know, just have so many phenomenal guests on this season already.
Absolutely.
And this is going to be a great opportunity for you to get to know us.
Yes, and we want to get to know you guys. So continue to connect with us. So excited because last week we encouraged all of our viewers and our listeners and our followers to connect, go back and review some of the past episodes, and then find us on all of the social media platforms.
Absolutely. Don't forget about that. And so we want to know, tell us so far, what's been your favorite episode? What's been some of the episodes that have been speaking to your heart, that's been encouraging you to change or to do better, to get better, some things that you may have been facing that we spoke about. And man, that's what this is all about. So talk back to us, y'all. Let us know how we're affecting you, if at all.
I got one. My favorite was Loving You. That was my episode. I really like that because I think it set a tone for us. Like loving ourselves, loving each other. Like that was a great way to start season 1.
Yeah, that was really good. I mean, I enjoyed them all. They all were so good. I think one of the ones that really spoke to me was Evolve or Die. Yeah. If you don't watch any of the episodes, Evolve or Die was so powerful. Yeah. And personally for me, because I'm at a place, you know, 40 plus where it's all about growing. It's all about learning and evolving. Yeah. You know, because I don't want to die. Evolve or die.
No, not at all. Especially at 40 plus.
You know what? It's crazy though, because it was a time where I did want to. Yeah. Man, I'm telling y'all, God could have took me out of here about 50, 55.
60.
I was okay with that. But now life is so sweet. Life is so much better. And I'm excited about what's coming. I'm excited about how we're able to impact the world. And just go on this journey with us, the 40 Plus Podcast, y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe, like, and hit the bell. Some people have been telling me they've been subscribing, but they don't get the notification, so they don't know when we're going live. And so you won't miss it. Make sure you hit that bell as well.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We are on Instagram. And so, again, thank you guys that have been connecting with us and not shacking up with us. They're actually becoming family. They're actually staying in this with us. So thank you guys because we are enjoying ourselves. Season 1 has been phenomenal. And season 2 is only going to get better. Absolutely. From more guests to more real talk from Mario and I to live events nationwide. You don't want to miss all of the announcements coming from the 40 Plus Podcast. This is just the beginning.
Yeah, and think about some things. If it's some things that you want to hear about, some things that you need knowledge and wisdom and insight on, if you're 40 plus, man, we have a plethora of guests and resources that are willing to come on and just share what they've been through and what their knowledge is with you as well. Yeah. So check us out. Continue to walk with us. It's gonna get better and better and better and better and better.
So today, you ready to jump into deep?
Ooh, let's go.
Okay, so I am going to start the interviewing for Mario J. Brown.
All right.
I'm starting this off. So guys, we are going to get to know him a little bit better. Again, this platform is such a great safe space to be vulnerable, to be honest, to be transparent, so that our age group 40 plus can kind of dig deeper for the things in our life that are important to us and just different transitions that we may feel like we're going through alone or maybe people don't understand. So this is a great place. So Mario J. Brown, don't forget the J. Let's start off with your family background. Tell us a little bit about your family dynamic and tell us a little bit about like siblings, where you grew up, a little bit of history. So many people that are following us may not know your story and your journey.
Okay. So my family background, primarily I grew up with a single mother. At times, you know, I had a father in the home, and of course my biological father, he was close while I was younger. And then as I got older, we kind of had a little bit of distance between us, but he was there. And then I had a stepfather that stepped in, God rest his soul, Maurice. He's gone now. And then I had another. My mom was blessed to marry again, Don, and he was influential as well. So I had a few good male role models in my life. Yeah. And sibling wise, I have. Let me count them. I have 5. I have 5 siblings. 4. Is it 4 of us on my mom's side? Let me count. We got my oldest is Charmaine. We got Brandon. We have Jordan. Yeah, I knew it was 4, but it's not on my mom's side. So my mom, we got Charmaine, myself, Brandon, Jordan. Okay. That's 4. And then on my dad's side, he has Jordan. Okay. And so I have 3 brothers and 1 sister.
Okay, dope.
Yeah, 3 brothers and 1 sister. But growing up in the home, primarily was me and my sister. Okay. We're really close in age. We're 4 years apart.
She's older, younger?
Yeah, she's older. Okay. She's got me by 4 years. So she came first. That was the first. I was the second. And so we had a pretty big gap between myself and my younger brothers. Okay. And so Mom, she started over when I was, I believe, 16.
Wow.
Somewhere, I was 14, between 14 and 16.
Yeah.
So she could have been done.
Yeah.
And she said, no, I'm ready to do it again. And I'm thankful she did. Amen. Shout out to my brothers, Brandon and Jordan. Love them very much. Yeah, so that's my dynamic pretty much.
So tell us about where you grew up, your hometown. How were you guys? Community, school. Yeah, how did that start for you in the early years?
I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Shout out 414. Yeah, man, I bounced around a little bit. We lived in the hood a little bit. So yeah, I went to a few different schools, but primarily once I was. Mom wanted me to have a good education.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
So, we were part of I forgot what that program is called, where they bus you out.
Yeah.
To different suburban schools. Yeah. And so I had that opportunity. I went all the way to Rawson Elementary one time. I mean, you don't know nothing about that, but whew, that was far. I used to have to get up real early.
How far was that from where you live?
I believe about 45 minutes or so. Yeah. And so Rawson Elementary, I went to Brown Deer Middle School, high school, and yeah. We grew up in some rough neighborhoods.
Okay, so let's see.
But our homes were nice. You couldn't have told me I was in a rough neighborhood because even the friends that I made in those neighborhoods were just
really good.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were blessed. Let's go to another question. What teachings did you benefit from your family, from your parents, from your upbringing? What people in your life really impacted you? Now you can see that at 40 plus.
Yeah. One of the things I think about a lot is I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. Yeah. And so being with my grandparents taught me really how to love people. So
we got to stop there. Make sure you guys comment, write, let us know how influential were your grandparents in your life, because we're 40 plus. So how many people can actually relate to that? So wow, that was powerful.
Yeah. So the journey, again, spending so much time with my grandparents, I watched them treat everybody the same way. And then not only that, but one of the biggest lessons I think I learned was just being kind, just being nice, being loving. My grandmother, man, I would rarely see her get upset. And so it takes a lot, even now to get to me. Yeah. Maybe the people that are close to me can get to me, but outside influences don't affect me much at all. And so, that was one of the most valuable lessons I learned. Just learning how to treat and love everybody.
Yeah. That's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So listen, you got something else?
No.
Okay. So we're going to make this interesting. I want to turn it on to you. I want to turn it over to you. So Miss Kimberly Marie Brown.
Hey, y'all.
My goodness. Kimberly Marie Brown. All right. So we're going to learn about you a little bit.
Okay.
So tell me about your family dynamic. Tell me, how did you grow up? How many siblings do you have? Were you the youngest? Were you the oldest? Were you the middle baby? Well, tell me about your life growing up.
Shout out to the oldest. I think we're thebomb.com. I am the oldest. On my mom's side, I'm the oldest girl to all boys. And I love that. I love being the oldest. But I think a lot of people can probably relate. Being the oldest, I think we can see that a little bit. Like as we get older, I see so much of that in my personality. And I knew Yeah, I really do think as I've gotten older, to be the older child, the middle, and then the baby, I think that really does relate to how we think and how we're wired, even as we get older, and just having, especially in a spouse, them kind of understand how we've been wired since we were a kid. So I'm the oldest of 5. I was the only girl, 4 boys on my mom's side. And then on my dad's side, we got a lot of cheering on the dad's side. There's a lot of cheering.
What's up, Pop?
Hey, Daddy. There's a lot of cheering over there. I'm the oldest on my dad's side.
Okay. The oldest on both sides.
Yes, oldest on both sides. And I'm the oldest granddaughter on my dad's side. But yeah, on my dad's side, I think he gave me a lot of siblings. I kind of have to run through them. Me and my brother from my mom's side, we share dad. And then I have a half sister and a half brother. And then I had another half brother. And then I had another half sister. And I pray that that's it. Hi, Daddy. Love you.
Interesting. Yeah. So tell me about what was some of the biggest and the greatest lessons that you learned from either side? What's some of the things that you can look at and know that, oh man, I got that from the what's your maiden name? Moore side. I got that from the Moores. Or what was your mom's family side? Luster. So are there any things that you can identify with to say, all day long? That's them.
I think a lot of us can relate to grandparents and just how influential grandparents were. So I relate to Mario's testimony, and I'm sure a lot of you can probably relate to that. And I really want to hear like the feedback from all of our viewers and the 40 plus family, because I'm just really digging deeper. What type of grandparents are we going to be? But I can relate to you. Like my grandmother was my rock on my dad's side. My dad's mom, she is now deceased. She passed last year at 90. But she was, my heart, my love, my every good emotion that you can think about a human that is just so inspirational. That's what my grandmother was to me. And crazy, they say I looked just like her and had a lot of her ways and a lot of her wisdom. And so my grandmother, she was a Proverbs 31 woman in a sense of she did a lot. Like she sewed, I remember her sewing curtains. I remember her sewing our comforters. And I talk to you about this like all the time, just to see her cook and clean. I remember when we were younger, she would have all of the grandchildren over for the summer. And the house was always clean. She would get our clothes out for the summer. Babe, I've never seen nothing like this. Like she would get all of our outfits out for every week for the whole summer. She would wash it and iron it and hang it up. And we just had to go in the closet and put it on and go outside and play. I've never seen somebody take so much care with their grandchildren. She did our hair every day, the girls. She was so loving. And some women may be able to relate to this. Me being an African-American young woman at the time, I had a cousin that had really long, beautiful, curly hair, and mine wasn't that way. But she used to take time to like put little extensions and braids in my hair and, just really take time to just care for us. She taught us about cleaning and cooking and hygiene and how to not be too fast, as they called it back in the day, so when we played outside. But she was such a great role model. She was kind. She opened her house to other people. They just don't make them like that anymore. And I think for me now, and I'm kind of jumping off, but anytime I talk about my grandmother, I can go on and on. But it's like, man, God, how can I be that woman that she was? Like, how can I even scratch the surface of that, you know?
And one thing I think about when we talk about grandmothers, I think it's amazing how they were able to make every grandchild feel like the favorite. I'm like, how do you do that? That takes a special kind of love to be able to be intentional. I mean, Granny she was just that thing for everybody, And so the same way I felt about her, so did my, all of her other grandkids and even great grandkids. I'm like, man, it just goes so deep. Definitely grateful to have had that experience. And like you said, just being able to be a part or experience that, so now we can pass it on, because we got a lot of young grandmothers now.
Absolutely.
And so maybe these young grandmothers don't know how to, you know, nurture and pour into like what we got a chance to witness and see. So, you know, the dynamics may be changing.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. This is still in the family category. Like, how do we, I think this is like one of my deepest desires in life. Like, how do we become that? How do we give that? How do we embody what they gave us? Like, how do we become those type of grandparents, follow in their footsteps, keep their legacy? In today's times, like how does our generation do that?
Well, I think, like I said, the biggest benefit that we have is we were able to witness it.
Yeah.
And so you can only, you know, implement what you've seen, you know. Yeah. And so we're a product of our environment and the things that we grew up on. So naturally, I think a lot of the things that they put into us is going to be passed down to, you know, the younger generations. And so, yeah, it's just, it's really about being intentional as well.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. What type of grandparents are you guys? Are you grandparents yet? In the 40+ category, we are. You know, and what type of grandparents do you want to be, or what type of legacy are you currently trying to or want to have for your family?
Yeah.
Oh, legacy is so juicy. When we get to talk about grandparents, I'm telling you, I can talk forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to go to, do you have another question for me in the family category? Okay, y'all, I'm going to take the mic back and I'm going to ask Mario. Now we're going to go to career. This is the juicy part I love about your testimony. Tell us a little bit about the younger you, finding your gifts, talents. Just tell us a little bit about who you were younger.
Man, going back to my grandparents, I started out in the church. My grandfather, Reverend Joe Orr, you know, I was born and raised in church. And so that's where I had an opportunity to discover, not only discover, but develop my gifts.
Oh, that's good. Discover and develop.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of places that will allow you to develop your gifts. Like a lot of places now, you got to kind of have it together. But the church gave me the opportunity to develop, you know, to not be so good in those moments. But come on, baby, you're doing good. Come on, y'all, clap for me. I had a lot of those moments, and so I'm thankful. Yeah, you know, you freeze up, you miss words sometimes in church, and then all of a sudden you just like, they just start clapping and encouraging you, making you feel good. So that's where like I said, I discovered this gift. Number one, to play drums. That's where I started out. I watched my Uncle Derek on the drums, and you know, I wanted to be like him so bad, and you know, got an opportunity to just learn and play when he would allow me to, and then. Yeah, so we went from there to I started singing. A lady named Grace Davis from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, she recognized the gift that was in me. And she was like, yeah, you're more than a drummer. Wow. She was like, I need to talk to your mother and, you know, get permission to bring you to church. And so she would come and get me for rehearsals and take me to Christ Temple for, you know, different rehearsals. And
so you didn't know you could sing until she pulled that out? You just thought that you could play the drums because you were playing the drums since how old?
About 4 years old.
Okay. Yeah. So you didn't. What?
So I guess I knew I could sing. I thought what was coming out of my mouth sounded okay. But I didn't take it seriously.
Wow.
You know, me and my sister would sing all the time, you know, together. So, but yeah, I wasn't as confident as I, you know, became.
Okay.
Especially with her witnessing or recognizing that in me and pushing me.
Okay. And you were what age when she?
That was about 10, 11, 12.
Still young. Yeah. Okay. So then she saw that gift in you and she said, let me pull you into. Where did she take you at that point once she kind of saw and talked to your parents? Yeah,
like I said, she took me to rehearsals. And so during those rehearsals is where I started to develop my gift even more. Okay. You know, because you get a level of, you know, experience in the church. You know, of course, we had rehearsals and things like that just growing up. But, you know, she took me to rehearsals that was on a whole nother level. And so my ear just started developing and training, and my confidence started to grow just from, you know, hearing different parts and different sections. And, you know, it just was in a greater abundance, like a lot more people. And so that was a really, really great experience. And it just, you know, started me on my way.
I'm laughing because you said your ear started to develop.
Yeah.
So I was in the church choir for a little while as a kid, but my ear didn't develop.
You never got a chance to develop. What happened?
I don't know. Just the way that you able to hear stuff. That was just so funny. You was like, yeah, she put me in this environment and my ear developed. Y'all, I guess the gift wasn't mine because I didn't get what you got, you know? Yeah. I did it for a little while and I was that regular alto. I can't even really say it right. Bless me, Lord. But I think it's amazing for people who are musically inclined. Yeah. You know, it's a gift because what comes so natural to you guys does not come natural to people who that's not our anointing, okay? But as soon as you said developed, I was like, yeah. Wasn't my story.
Yeah. And then I went on. I mean, I don't know if we're still talking about the early stages or, you know, and beyond, but yeah, that was my early upbringing and introduction to music, if you will. And then I joined the youth choir, Wisconsin State Youth Choir.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, this youth choir was phenomenal. It's almost like it was just this, it wasn't even a hand-picked group of young people, but everybody could sing.
Really?
Like everybody in this choir could sing. And I want to say it was 100 of us at one point.
Shout out, man. Yeah. That's so dope.
Robert Williamson, he again took that over and he took us in as his children and, you know, really kind of reared us in the right direction and just allowed us again this stage to develop. And so he's no longer here with us. So God rest his soul, Robert Williamson. But yeah, shout out to Wisconsin State Youth Choir. Yeah. So many relationships developed out of that choir. Yeah. So many of us have gone on to do great things. And I'm talking about from musicians, singers. I mean, you name it. I mean, I'm just honored to have been a part of that.
Yeah, that's good. And that's I wish we had. I mean, we may, you know, nationwide have something like that for the youth. But I think it's always a blessing to hear for our age group, 40 plus, what things we really had for God to really tap into us and start developing our life early. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, that was good. And man, there's so much I could talk about. I don't know how much time I got. I ain't gonna talk about your time. So from there, we pulled. Actually, I started singing with a group called New Creation.
Okay.
Shout out Jermaine Rideout, Chad Roper, Tim Campbell, Jeremy Williams, the late great DeAndre Flippin. Man, we had a couple members that would come in and out. Tennille, and you know, I can't think of the others at this time, but yeah, I mean, it was all. But again, these are moments where I didn't realize what it was building me up for or to, but we spent hours in rehearsal. Apart from the choir, like we would have choir rehearsal, then we go on our own. It's our group, and we'd go downstairs at Rideout House, and we would just sing and sing and sing and practice and perfect our gifts. Yeah, and that's one of the things that, you know, I'm hoping to put back into the youth of today. We're talking about 40 plus. How can we impact those that are younger than us now? Yeah. Just really helping them understand the importance of repetition and just
hard work.
Yeah. And just developing that gift and cultivating it and putting it, giving it everything you got and loving it. Loving it. I mean, I'm talking about we didn't get tired. You had to really kind of make us stop doing what we were doing. You had to make us shut because we loved it. And so we weren't getting checks. We didn't get paid. We were doing gigs all around Milwaukee and Racine for nothing. And we loved it. And so I appreciate that. And then we went on, we created a group kind of inside of that. Tim Campbell and I, we went on to create Rain. Well, Rodney Poe. Yeah. He pulled on us and he created what was Special Request at the time. Okay. So man, it's so much, like I said, it's a long story. This ain't my interview all the way, y'all.
But you know what? I'm happy, y'all, because it's so much of Mario's musical career and journey that is so inspirational and impactful to so many. So keep going. Oh, it's juicy.
All right. Well, shout out Rodney Poe, who went on to sing with Blackstreet and, you know, done some amazing things. He was the oldest in the group. And Tim and I, Sherelle was our manager at the time. Shout out Sherelle. And so we got together for a contest and we ended up winning the contest. And so
it was a big contest in Milwaukee, or what was it, like Star Search, or like what type of?
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I'm not combining everything because I think before the contest, we actually won a couple contests too with Rodney. Okay. But then Rodney got in some trouble. Okay. And so Rodney, BJ, myself, and Tim, you know, we started out together as four, and then Rodney got in a little trouble. And then the three of us went on to do some things apart. And so we changed the name when our group changed.
Okay.
And
what'd you change the name to?
The group name changed to Rain.
Rain.
And so Rain had an opportunity to do a talent show. And so for that talent show,
wow.
yeah, we were able to, let's see, it was for a record deal and a chance to come to Atlanta to work with some people out here where I'm now living.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how that all started. And so we won the talent show. We had our opportunity, and we made the best of it. We worked with some of the finest musicians, artists, songwriters out here. So yeah, just a lot of good experience.
And that was so juicy, because I'm gonna come back to that, where you left us as a kid and then where your career kind of went as an adult and what you want to accomplish now. So that was perfect. Anything else you want to share about those younger years, and things that you learned, or how God kind of exposed maybe who you feel like now at 40 plus, we're kind of really getting to know ourselves more, and a lot of our stories and our life is starting to kind of make sense. Yeah. So now to see the man that you have become and are continuing to become, are there any things that you look back on like, man, God always had his hand? It was like orchestrating so many pieces. Yeah.
I think that's what I'm thankful for most, because sometimes even as parents, we may not recognize the gifts that are in our children enough to pour into it. And sometimes we may miss it. But at the end of the day, God has a plan. And so to look back at my life and realize that every step of the way, God was orchestrating, and he was ordering my steps to who I am now. I mean, from day one up until now. So a lot of what I'm doing is in my blood. You know what I'm saying? It's just a place that you can't buy. It's real. And so I'm thankful for that, because again, like when I didn't see it, and when maybe family members at times couldn't see it, God was still ordering my steps and allowing me to go places that I would have never gone without him. So.
Absolutely. That's good. Ooh. Yeah. Y'all, this is good. I'm getting to pull so much out of my husband. And how many of you guys can relate even so far, just our journey, and how much, God has just been moving in all of our lives as we continue to grow and evolve.
Yeah. So let's talk to you again, Miss Kimberly. Let's find out let's talk about the younger you.
Okay.
The younger you. Yeah. Did you always know that you would become who you are today? Did you see a lot of these, were these gifts that are inside of you? First of all, tell us some of the gifts that they may not be aware of that you have.
Yeah.
And were you exposed at a younger age to these gifts, and kind of who led you in this direction?
Yeah. So I think my journey, my gift is public speaking. My gift is interviewing. My gift is entrepreneurship. Really in that lane of just like speaking and being a visionary, being an innovator. So this is I see why God allowed me to be born in this season of life. This is where I really flourish. I think as a child, I did see like that a lot of the gifts were there, but I didn't know what it was. I think it was just.
Were you vocal as a child? Like, were you one of those? Were you chatty as a child, or were you confident even as a Tell me about.
Y'all,
young Kim.
Little Kim would come in. Little Kimmy, that's little Kimmy, little Kimberly. I would come to the room, and my daddy used to call me Chatterbox. Oh, I was so excited, and I was so happy about life, and just could talk a mile a minute, and just always as a little girl, you knew when Kimberly came in the room. They tell me the story when I was younger. It was like a holiday dinner or something, and all of the family is sitting around the table. I think I'm about 5, and they used to dress me. Remember back in the day, they used to have the big old dresses and the little socks with the little ruffles and the shoes. So I was always dressed really nice. And they said I sat at the table on the other end of where my dad was, and I sat down and I looked at him and I crossed my hands. They said,
how old were you?
So 5. They said I was just looking at my daddy like this, and he was like, they was like, my grandmother was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm mad at you. Like he had called me or had did something, and I was like, we're gonna talk, sir.
So you was pulling people to the carpet at 5.
Oh my goodness. I was very expressive, and I wanted people to be happy, and I wanted people to do what was right. So I was a little girl that was gonna say, no, you need to stop smoking, put that cigarette down. A lot. I think I was born 65.
Where did you get that boldness from? Have you always been bold like that, or did it come from just, you know, some things you saw in your life, or where did it come from?
From God, I guess. I mean, because it's no way to explain just being personality, you know, having the personality, talking a lot, caring about people, having the knowledge, and being brave enough to speak to situations. And it's just something about being the oldest and like a leader. I think I was just always a leader. So I was never intimidated by leadership or taking things in a certain direction. I think that was just God. He just wired me that way.
Do you think that came from being the oldest child? That leadership skills, abilities? Like, how did that develop?
Yeah, it could have. I think young, my earliest memories, I do remember kind of really, you know, using my leadership skills is like when we went to bed or what we were going to eat, or like making sure my siblings picked up toys, making sure we weren't too loud, that we didn't get in trouble. This sense of caring about a lot of people at once, because it was 5 of us, so making sure that all of my siblings were okay before myself. So I think that came early. My earliest memories, 4 or 5, I was helping and leading and guiding and had a lot. Okay, is this brother okay? Is this brother okay? Does he need to eat? Do I need to change his diaper? Who needs to lay down? Who's fussing? So kind of like that motherly instinct early.
So you took on responsibility at a young age.
Yeah,
a lot of it.
And then I do the responsibility, then I go play and then talk a lot. Be chatty Cathy. So it was still like this balance.
Did you feel like it caused you to grow up, like to mature faster?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of people can relate to that. I think one of the things that all of our life is so uniquely different, but I think for me, I matured beyond, let's see, how can I put this, guy? I matured beyond my level of maturity.
Okay.
I was mature, but life still needed to mature me. So about time I got to my 20s, I was making decisions like I was in my 40s and thinking that they were right decisions, when in actuality I still needed to mature. But because I was mature, I thought I was mature enough. So I was always too advanced, and that kind of got me in trouble in sometimes, because I was trying to, it was just natural to me. But I didn't always understand the dangers, and I was naive and gullible, and so there was still some more maturing that needed to happen, even though I was mature, if that makes sense. It was a very unique dynamic.
That's good. That's good. So tell us now, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? So I don't think you even went into some of the things that you're doing now. You talked about your public speaking, but one of the things that you didn't mention is the fashion and the modeling.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's really big. That's really huge. That's something that you're into right now. So where did that gift come from? Like, was there somebody that you looked up to as a younger person? Like, oh man, like that, she's stylish, or you know, he's stylish, or like, where did that gift? How did that gift develop?
Yeah. So to our 40+ podcast family, it's crazy because, you know, sometimes we forget how much we have not shared, and Mario and I have so many different kind of platforms and things that we do that I kind of forget, which community kind of knows us. But for this community, I've been an entrepreneur, for about 16 years. I think you're on your 26th year. So I've owned a Christian entertainment company where we work on modeling, fashion, hairstyling, branding. We work with artists. We work with anybody in Christian entertainment, and we have a high emphasis on the youth and the homeless community. And then I've done, I was a Christian radio personality for years, which I love Christian radio. And then motivational speaking, I did a lot of that, author, and now through our marriage, pastoring. And so I think really the thing I love about life is the evolution of it. I think that's why I love the podcast that we did, which was Evolve or Die, because as we are getting older, there's still so many gifts and dreams. And I think for my life, it was like layers of it. I really didn't know that it was happening as it was happening. I was the oldest girl of all of these boys. So I was a tomboy growing up. I really didn't have this sense of fashion and hair and makeup and modeling. That wasn't my thing. I didn't have a desire to be married when I was younger. I didn't have a desire I wasn't the little girl thinking of
kids and none of that stuff, right?
No, I wasn't the mom thinking of the young girl thinking of like the wedding dress. I wasn't thinking about modeling or fashion. What was in my mind when I was younger was taking care of my siblings and running around chasing them. Like I was really a tomboy. So a lot of the feminine and girly stuff kind of wasn't in my mindset younger. But then as I continued to develop, I started to see like my leadership skills pop up. I started to see how I was attracted to motivational speakers and people that were positive. I knew as a teenager that I was going to write a book, and I had this gift with words and expressing myself. I didn't even know that I was going to go into modeling and fashion except through my grandmother. I had no clue. I thought I was going to go into nursing. And so at law school, because of my gift to talk. So I think in life, like God kind of eventually puts these pieces together. But I can say early 20s is when my career started, and God made it clear. Like it was clear that I had a love for styling and wardrobe and hair and makeup. It was clear that I had a love for Christian entertainment. It was clear that I wanted to work with the youth. It was clear that I loved the homeless community. It was clear that I wanted to serve. So early, everything was made clear. But as a child, it was just random gifts and things that were all in there. But I wasn't your girly girl in a sense.
So we talked about on my end how music was something that I could never get away from because it's a part of me. So what keeps you from quitting modeling and fashion, and what drives you to even continue when in an industry it can be challenging and competitive?
Oh yeah, I think I love Christian entertainment. So for those of us who are 40 plus, anything that you deeply love, you just find once you know it's your calling. So I think for all of us, what is our calling? How do we find that? Whether it was when we were children or when we get older. I just know for me, I love Christian entertainment and everything that embodies. So all of the modeling, I love. All of the fashion, I love. The youth programs that we do that are centered around the arts and entertainment and helping children nationwide and soon international find their gifts and their talents. I love that. Musicians, everything that you guys do, actors, actresses, writers, anything in the creative space, I am absolutely in love with. So I don't know how to do anything else, or even in entrepreneurship. It doesn't matter if it's someone owning a landscaping company, a roofing company, or even in finance. Just seeing people in our age group and younger just do something that they're fulfilled and they feel like they're called to do. That is a deep passion of mine, because I truly believe that we're here for a purpose and for God to really do things through us that he's called us to do. Absolutely. Not to just live this like mundane, boring life, Yeah,
that's good. Kimberly Marie, y'all, you see so many different gifts and talents, and we haven't even scratched the surface. Shout out to Kimberly Marie.
I want to talk about
God has gifted you. God has blessed you. God has been good to you.
Yes, amen. Let's talk about your faith.
My faith.
Yes, I want to talk about faith. I don't know how you guys are right now in the season of your life with your faith and your relationship with God. How important is your relationship with God? So we're going to tune in with Mario J. Brown. How your faith. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you were introduced to your faith.
Well, I'm going to go a couple of different directions with my faith. Okay. So I came into the faith, as you know, I've stated through my grandfather, Reverend Pastor Joe Orr, at Greater New Life. Yeah. So at Greater New Life is where my faith developed. So of course, Granddad would preach every Sunday, and there were different elders, Elder Highland, Elder Knowles, just so many different elders that would come and bless us. Out of the valley, I remember just so many different people that impacted my life as a young kid. Yeah. And so I didn't always understand the word that was being taught. Yeah. I didn't understand the Bible. I didn't understand any of that. But what I did understand was what I witnessed. And so just being in that place where I saw miracles happen, I saw just demons cast out. I saw things with my eyes that you could never take away. Yeah. And so again, while I didn't understand a lot of the word, because I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
I understood that his power. I understood the anointing. I understood because it was shown right in front of me. And so that's where my faith developed. I was like, oh yeah, God is real. Because only a God can change this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, you talking about, again, miracles, people not being able to walking, people that can't see, blind eyes open, just people that, again, with the demons that were coming out and, you know, being cast out and then just dropping to the floor. Yeah. Coming up a whole new person, you know, all of that happened before my eyes. So that's how my faith developed. Now, like I said, I'm gonna go a couple of different angles with this. Yeah. You would think that because of the miracles I saw, you would think that because of the anointing that was displayed and just God just showing himself mighty and strong, that I would grow up to just have a strong faith. Mm-hmm. Life. Let me tell you, life happened. Life happens. I had a strong faith. Let's see. When I started going down the career as an artist, I had to completely trust God. So my faith was up here. It was like, okay, God, this is what you want me to do. Use my gifts. I'm like, oh, who's gonna want to hear this gift? Are you sure? I like being in the background. I like creating harmonies. I like singing with a group. Now you want me to go out and do this solo thing? And so God was just saying, yeah, use what you have. Use your gift. And so I did that. And I had to watch God, again, through my faith. He opened some doors that I never imagined happening. Yeah. You know, me being able to be signed to Fred Hammond, who was, you know, somebody that I had admired and looked up to, one of my mentors from afar, all of my life. Yeah. You know, so being able to even meet him was one thing, let alone be signed to him. Yeah. And travel with him and be influenced by, you know, in a personal way. So yeah, that whole journey, not to mention some of the secular artists and things that I was afforded to work with. So my faith was strong because God allowed me to see some things at a young age that a lot of people didn't see. So it told me, it showed me, it gave me a glimpse of what I could have and what my future would be like. So my faith was strong. But again, you would think after all of these signs and miracles that, oh man, his faith should always be strong. But then as time passed, I started making mistakes. I started dropping the ball. I started doing things that weren't godly. And I believe that I kind of hindered my own path, you know. And so during that time, my faith began to waver. Yeah. My faith began to get weaker. And so the things that I once to believe God for became challenging for me to believe him for, just because of life. And so at one point, you know, I really was ready to give up on it all and just say, hey, okay, I'm just going to be regular. I'm just going to be a dad. I'm going to be a husband. And this is going to be my life. Yeah. And, you know, not knocking regular people, but knowing that I was gifted, it was always a pull. It was always a challenge for me. So it was always like I would fight depression because it's like every time I wanted to settle, God was still pulling me like, nah, I got more for you. It's more that I want to do for you. So, yeah, that's where my faith started. That's how my faith started to change. Fast forward to now, my faith is growing stronger. I'm able to, again, evolve and be in a place of how can we tell anybody anything that we haven't lived or gone through. And so I'm thankful for all of it, the journey. Absolutely. You know, some of us want to, you know, take away certain parts of our lives, but again, every part matters. And so I'm thankful for where I'm at now and how my faith is, it's strong. My faith is strong now. What about you? You got anything to add to that, or we're gonna go right to you?
I was thinking just how many people can relate to that. You guys that are tuning in with us, write in the comments. And I think this is such a good conversation because this allows us to review our lives and all of what we've been through. I think 40 plus, we're at a season where to look back and review our lives and think about what we've been through is such a beautiful opportunity to now go to the younger generation and talk to them and relate to them and tell them what we've been through. But we're in such a beautiful season of now legacy and just giving back and encouraging them and being confident in our testimony and knowing that there's power and there's healing in our testimony, right? It's so much purpose. And so, you can jump to me now, but I just think about how sweet of a season we're in, in our life.
Yeah. So again, with you, tell us, how did you enter the faith? How did you find out about the faith and what led you to God?
Yeah.
Did someone lead you to God? Was it a personal experience that you had? Or is it something that you, like many of us or some of us have grew up in church and just had that experience that way? Or was it a situation where it's like, no, God met me in the car? Like, I wasn't one of these every Sunday churchgoers. And like, how did you come to know Christ?
Yeah, so I think for me, I did grow up in the church. So I had family that were taking me to church very young. So I do remember a lot of times, you know, as a little girl being in the church and being around and being involved and being comfortable, you know, in that environment around other believers and really having an understanding of what that was. But my first experience with God, to know that he was real, it was personal. It was, I mean, and I've told this story for several interviews, but I think that 4 or 5 age group for me is when my first memories start. And I remember I was a little girl. I was playing with some rubber duckies or something in the tub, and it's funny because still I think a lot of people say how God talks to them in the bathroom, in the shower, at these different moments. And I just remember playing. And then I remember hearing this voice. And as time has gone on, I don't remember exactly the words that God says, but I just remember it kind of being something like, I love you. Like I'm here. And I remember like something like, your life is going to be hard, but I need you to know early that I'm here. And I remember like, like just kind of like, but it was, God speaks to me in such a voice that I know that it's him. And that has been proven my whole life. When he really needs to get to me and tell me something, bring about change, warn me, I will know that he is speaking to me. And so I remember him telling me that, but it makes sense now that I'm older, the hard life that he was telling me I was going to go through. Oh, I absolutely went through. Like my childhood was extremely, I almost want to say excruciating. Traumatic, excruciating, like tragic. It was very difficult. And so I think God showed himself to me very young so that I could know that it was him. I can know that he was real, and I can know that he would never leave me. And so then as I got older and I kind of was going through a lot of things within my family, I was able to lean and depend on him. But I knew God was real from 4 or 5 years old. Like I didn't doubt, like, oh, it's a God. It's something bigger than me. And I really had that full understanding. I think that God is mighty enough and powerful enough to make himself real to us at any season in his life. So I had no doubt that I was his and I was away from him from a period, but he was with me. That was like the understanding that I got at that age. And so then from there, my faith just continued to be, and I think for me, my faith has always been strong because of that. How can you have that type of encounter to where God speaks to you and you know it's him, and then like kind of doubt?
You said your faith has always been strong. Yeah. And how can you not have that experience? So how were you able to maintain a strong faith when life hit you the way it did? In these moments where, like, did you ever have any doubts, or were you always like, no, God is with me?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I knew he was real. I knew he was with me. And I had this deep understanding of, for whatever reason, even before I understood the word, it was going to work for my good. And I hadn't even read that yet. But it was just this belief that I have a God, I'm good. I think that was the basic. I've never been separated from that thought. God and good. I'm good. But I think that it's kind of hard for me. My journey has been hard and misunderstood because I think in hard times, sometimes people will say, well, how are you not affected by certain life situations, or are you detached, or are you like, even when on my worst days, it was still a good day. Yeah. It was horrible in that day, but overall there was still this joy and this peace that was beyond me. But it's hard to like verbalize that when people will be like, oh, that's your house just caught on fire. How can you really have a peace and a joy? It's like, well, this is now and this hurts and I'm feeling the human part of it, but everything is going to be okay. It's still going to be okay.
And let me just say this. I'm thankful to have you because she has such an optimistic and positive outlook on everything. And so, you know, I think we balance each other out, or at least on this part, she probably carries me a lot of the time because, man, when it gets hard, you know, again, this faith tool is something that I'm developing. It's a muscle that I'm continuing to develop. And so because your muscle is strong, you know, it's making my muscle stronger. So I appreciate the level of faith that you have and that you display and that I'm able to see and witness and also learn from. You know, so it's helping me to, you know, when times get hard for me, when I'm in doubt, when I'm in, you know, just want to fall out because I'm like, oh Lord, what's about to happen? What's going on? It's too much. I can't take it. Something just happened last week. I don't want something else this week. Yeah, but just, you know, being able to be with someone who, you know, just know how to ride the wave, and it's like, we good. You know, so that's a beautiful thing. I appreciate that.
I have a question though, which I wonder how many people can relate to this. Is it difficult though? How do you balance that when sometimes in your, I think being a realist is a very good thing because you've helped me not be as naive. But when you are more of a realist and you're really going through these life situations and we all are evolving and growing, how is that in the moment to where it's like, okay, I'm looking at this life situation, which isn't a good situation. Like we have to talk about so many things from debt to financial hardships to very, very stressful things, whether it's kids or our job, career, whatever. How is that in that moment when it's something very difficult and then you're looking at it this way, but then I'm looking at it totally different? How do you balance that, and what do you go through in those moments?
Well, let's let's think about relationship. You know, so of course, like any other relationship, we have our moments where it's tough, where it's hard, where it's trying. That's when I'm like, let's be real about it. Let's be real about it. Let's really put it on the table. Let's deal with the reality of what is so that we can fix it. Because I think that when you have an optimistic mindset about it, it's good, but sometimes it doesn't allow you to deal with the reality of what's going on. And so I think that those are moments where it's like, yeah, let's really deal with this. But then you'll come in and say, but you know, let's deal with it, but it's gonna be all right. You know, so I'll come in and have us really assess what we need to assess, and then you'll come in and help us, you know, see it for what it is, and not something, because I might look at it as something bigger than what it is. And so I think that that's where the balance comes in for you and I, because you may overlook some things and be like, no, we good, we good. And then I feel like people who do that sometimes, you know, things can pile up, you know, and then before you know it, you got a lot of things that you done swept under the rug, and now you got a whole mess to clean up versus, you know, one thing here and there. So I think that's the balance.
Yeah. I think it's amazing in life how as we get older, God gives us those pieces that we need. You know, those things that balance us out. That was good. I love the faith topic.
Yeah. So
am I going to relationships?
Okay, you want to go ahead? Go ahead.
Okay, what type of spouse we want to know, everybody? Get your tea because this is about to get good. We're going to talk about relationships, and then we're going to talk about finance. And so this is going to be a great opportunity for us to just look over our lives and see what even things we want to change or improve. Okay, relationships. What type of spouse were you? What first of all, let's even start. Where did you get your idea of what a relationship was? Like, you know, how did you see dating, marriage? What type of boyfriend were you? Let's just like go back. How did you get your understanding of I'm a boy, that's a girl, and this is how I'm going to do this thing?
Let me just say, I failed horribly. I failed horribly. I had a lot of opportunities to do well, to do good, but I failed horribly. I think I was always chasing satisfaction.
Okay.
So
out of a relationship, out of dating?
Satisfaction within myself.
Okay.
So I was always missing something. Okay. And I didn't realize that what I was looking for, I was getting temporary satisfaction through women.
Okay.
And so I manipulated women. I had different women that I was with, and again, just my lifestyle that I was afforded the opportunity to be around, it took me down this road where it kind of built up this guy who, you know, just was was woman hungry.
Okay, but wait. So you said you were seeking satisfaction, or you were what were you? What was it that you?
So what I now know is that it was a spiritual satisfaction. It was a void that only God can fill.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so where I was looking for, what's the word? I want to say love in a sense, but when I was looking for certain things, you know, or somebody to let me know, oh, you know, I appreciate this about you, or I love this about you. I was finding it in the wrong places.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And so it was building my self-esteem was built in the wrong way. Gotcha. And so that was what was building me and making me who I was, because again, that's just I didn't know any better. And so learning now, I was a horrible boyfriend to a lot of girls. Like
really, I was, even younger when you first started off? Yeah. Your first?
Yeah. I pretty much.
What did you do with your first girlfriend? You didn't even get her to look forward, bro. The
I didn't. I don't think I took time.
Like, you wasn't a nice first boy. Like, what was your first girlfriend? How old were you? Do you even remember, like, your first time kind of liking a girl? You don't have to say the names and nothing like that, but your first little moment of, like, oh, this is a little girlfriend. I'm going to try to treat her nice, or I'm going to try.
I mean.
Baby! My God, today.
We got to be real. We're going to be real. I didn't know how to treat a girlfriend. I mean, I was nice. I mean, I wasn't rude.
Right.
You know, even when I had nice cars as a teenager. So I was, you know, I was it chivalrous? Yeah. I was respectful in that sense. Okay. But at the same time, I wasn't faithful. You know.
You started off like not like, well, I'm gonna be faithful.
Yeah, I don't think I really had an understanding, you know, of what it should look like. And so just as a young man, I was just like, you know, I was enjoying myself. Yeah. I was having fun, you know, but again, I'm able to look back and see like, oh yeah, I was a mess. But then you couldn't tell me. I didn't know it, you know. I didn't even understand what I was doing. So that was who I was. That was me as a spouse. Yeah. So I was nice to a lot of women.
I like you, girl. I'm nice to you. I'm nice to you.
Yeah. So I showed qualities, but it just wasn't to one woman. I kind of
spread.
I was too nice.
I spread the niceness. Bless him, Lord. He spread the niceness. Yeah. He said, listen,
I had too much love to give. I had to give it to everybody. Boy, and it wasn't fair. But you know what? I didn't even have to work for it. That's what fair.
Okay, so explain.
When you have, man, when you are gifted, and you in the church, Lord Jesus, at that age, especially, I mean, again, it was like I attracted women. Yeah, I just attracted without even trying. So I wasn't strong enough to fight them up. I was like, okay, you like me? You like me? I like you too. You like me? All right.
I like you. I like you. I like you. I like. So, but that makes sense. We like each other. Yeah, that makes sense. Being out there, kind of like a public figure, so early, talented. Again, I think when people have a gift and a talent and it's put out there, sometimes people are drawn to you just because of your gift and your talent. And unless somebody was to really guide you or mold you and tell you, like, Mario, people are going to be attached to you because of your talent. Like, you know,
you would mistake that as genuine love. Yeah.
If nobody actually set you down and told you that. And so for me, I love hearing testimonies and what we go through, because it makes me think, okay, if that's something we went through as children, how can we help our children in the next generation? So it's just like talking to our children about how to know good fruit in relationships, how to know when somebody really cares, how to know what people are attracted to them for. Yeah. You know, are they attracted to you because of your body? Are they attracted to you because you have a gift? Are they attracted to you because of whatever superficial reasons? Or are you, you know, for them to really look at the character? And even us, you know, I know so many people that still at our age group don't look at the character of the person and the people that are surrounding you.
You said it. That's where I was going next. What type of spouse am I now? I think my character means so much to me now that I got tired of being the guy who had a bad reputation.
Absolutely. You know? Yeah.
So just understanding who I am now and what I want and the type of person that I want to become, there was some work that I had to do.
Yeah.
And so in order to, go from this version of myself to the better me and to the evolved me and to the person that God had for me to be, I had to do some work. I had to change and, again, just really grow up and mature.
Yeah.
And it took me a while.
Yeah. What were the steps? Like, how do you come from a place? How do we, in general, go from like, this is who I've been, this is my mindset, these are the decisions I make? How do you now change that? What were the steps?
I think with anything, it starts with an awareness. Like, if you're not aware of the change that needs to take place, then how can you change? And how do you know what tools to go and get to change?
Okay, so I got to stop you. So awareness. What was the moment when you felt like, I'm aware that this man that I am, or this man that I have become, this is not working for me? When did that awareness?
I don't know
what
that
age?
It's a moment. I think that it just happened over time. Yeah, I think over time. And because I even made some mistakes in my past marriage, so I don't think that it was a moment that I just realized. It just, I don't know. I think that once I wanted better. I wanted better. I wanted to become more. I wanted to not look like what I had been. And so it just was just like, okay. At that point, it was a decision, because it was always a wrestling going on, between flesh and spirit. And so it was like, as I got older, it was like, okay, it's time to make a decision to change. And with that decision, everything else became easier. And again, a lot of the things that I would wrestle with, the lust of the flesh, all of that stuff became like, it's not even a battle. It's not even a fight that I have to, deal with anymore, because it's like, I'm not that person,
I love how God doesn't give up on us on our journey, and how he allows us, again, 40 plus. This is such a sweet age group. You was about to say something. Oh, I think this is just a sweet age group, because we're still here.
Yeah.
And he's still able to do like so many changes in us. And we need this time on earth and with him, and just through our mistakes and our journey and our trials. Like it's all good. Yeah. God is good. Even in the bad, he's good. It's going to work for our good.
Yeah. Yeah. And God can change you if you let him.
Yeah.
He truly can if you let him. So let's talk about you. What type of spouse were you, and what type of spouse are you now?
Oh, I was a mess, y'all. I was just that story was so funny. I loved it. Oh my gosh. But I think all of us can look back and know that we were a mess as a spouse. I think it's no handbook for being a spouse. We don't understand our trauma. We don't understand our triggers. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and even with not just that we were such a mess, but a lot of times, if I'm honest, I did the best I could. You know what I'm saying? And at some points, my best wasn't good enough. So it's not even so much at times where it was just all about me and me being the mess. So that's why the relationship went the way it went. No, a lot of the times I was giving my all, and my all wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And so in those moments, so it's we could talk all day long about this topic, because it's deeper than just that, but that's just one layer of it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to interject that. But.
Yeah, I wasn't giving my best.
Yeah.
I wasn't giving my best. I think now I'm giving my best.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like now, this version, my relationship with you, my marriage, I'm committed. I'm aware. I know what's going on. I wanted to be with you. I wanted to be married. Like, I'm fully at a maturity and awareness. So I'm giving my best now. Prior seasons,
yeah.
I wasn't giving my best, and I didn't care. Because I wasn't supposed to be there. Okay. I was in relationships. I made decisions, and if it didn't work for me, then I was like, my heart was just never in it. I was never supposed to be there, and I was, still through immaturity and not being naive and just starting things that I should have never started. Or I really think for me, I didn't have an understanding early. Really, if I go all the way back, I didn't have an understanding that I could say no.
Okay.
That's really where it started for me. So I never got that talk, and of course maybe nobody knew to have that talk with me, but as a young child I never got that talk like, daughter, if somebody likes you, you can say no. Like, I people pleased a lot. So like Steve Urkel was it Laura on the show, like he was like, I'm gonna wear you down and eventually I'm gonna get you. I was one of them ones where if you got in the right environment in my life, or you were close enough to me, you could wear me down to the point where I was like, oh, I feel bad, I'm gonna give you a shot. But in my heart, never really wanting to give that person a shot. So I wasn't giving my best. So when things started to kind of fall apart, or relationships started to get hectic, or I would just be like, okay, and kind of wash my hands with it, because I was never really there. I was never really making the decision. I struggled with commitment. Yeah. You know, so even though I'm a very monogamous person, I'm a very committed person, I'm a very faithful person, I hadn't found anyone that I wanted to be committed to. So it was easy to so I was not giving my best, and I absolutely would not have given my best, because I knew I was in those wrong situations. You know.
But let me ask you this: was it intentional, or is it something that you realized, hindsight, that you weren't giving your best? Because while you were in it, were you doing the best you could, that you knew, the best you knew to do?
Yeah, maybe. I think looking back at like younger selves, I can see times when I was a little bit more selfish. I think it was a season in my life where I was really focused on my career and ministry. I was really focused on community and what I wanted to do in the arts and entertainment. I was really focused on my children. And so even looking back, I think I still knew I really wasn't committed, but it was no deep desire to really be committed. I kind of felt like I really needed to be committed to God and what I felt like I was called to do, and my children. And then the mate came after all of these other things, you know. But yeah, and even though I was always nice and I was loving and I was encouraging but I never really gave my whole heart to any relationship. I never. So this season for me has been so good and so fruitful, because for the first, I'm like, oh my God, I'm showing up. I'm aware of what marriage is. I'm aware of what love is. I'm aware of what a relationship is. I'm able to see and evolve the good and the bad, the stuff that I bring. Like, it feels so good to be present. Yes. And I think we find ourselves in relationships that we should not be in. We're trying to force them to work. We're trying to force ourselves to be in bed. But it's like that. It's something inside that's like, this isn't right. This isn't working. I shouldn't be. And so I think for me, it was just always this sense of, I knew internally I was in the wrong place. So why would I overinvest when I knew I was in the wrong place? I just wasn't brave enough to stop putting myself in the wrong place. So that was my journey. Eventually I was like, okay, Kimberly, you're getting older. Stop putting yourself in the wrong place when you know you're not going to be invested anyway. You know, it's probably about 2 years max and you're going to be out. So stop, you know? So yeah,
that was good. It's real good. Did y'all learn anything about either one of us? So we have one more topic that we want to discuss. And then we'll be
wrapping up. This was good. And I'm excited to hear, what other people's stories are, their life, reflecting, and get some good people that we can connect with for season 2 to really talk about this journey of 40 plus and what we've been through. Finance.
Finance.
This is something we have to talk about in our age group, is finance. So I want to ask you, what were some of the fruitful seasons of your financial life?
My financial life has been up and down, just as an entrepreneur, as an artist. And so there were seasons where money would come, and then there were seasons where nothing would come. So my most fruitful financial season, where I had probably the most money at one time, was actually because of car accidents. Let me tell you, I knew how to fall out of a car. Better than anybody. I knew how to hold my neck and my back. So during them times, boy, man, my boy Chad, he'll tell you, Jermaine, we got some check. I went through a season where I think I had about 3 car accidents that each one of them paid me. I mean, paid for the car. I got a new car, got money and I was young. I'm 16, 17, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
So, I had some money that I didn't know what to do with. And that's when my son was first born. I remember buying him and his mama Pelly Pale jackets. Y'all remember Pelly Pales?
40 plus.
Jordans.
40
boy,
plus.
We all had matching outfits.
40 plus.
They gave me money that was supposed to take care of the car. And guess what I did with the money, y'all?
Did what you wanted.
Spent it completely. Just took it all and spent it. So yeah, but again, back to some of these seasons. Just that's one thing that we do want to talk about with people who have experience being an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
40
absolutely.
plus, because there are seasons where you will have an abundance, and there's a season where you will have maybe lack.
Yeah.
And so knowing how to balance those seasons, and what do you do in the meantime, and how do you supplement the income that's needed during that time. So yeah, that's something that we're going to be talking to a few financial experts about. So if you know any of those experts, have them reach out to us, and we'll have them on the show as well. But yeah, those were some of my most fruitful seasons.
Yeah. What are you hoping will become the most fruitful season of your financial life now?
Wow. Of course, we are working tirelessly to just build legacy for us and our children and our grandchildren, great-grandchildren. So I'm praying that, things will really start to unfold for us, that God will release a lot of the resources that he's already, got set up for us. So as long as we're doing our work and doing what we're supposed to do, I believe that it's coming.
Amen.
And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to my best days being ahead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. Where are you guys at in your financial state? Are you wanting to get more information and just do more things financially? I think statistically, if we look at America and just where we are after the pandemic, I think a lot of people still are looking to have multiple streams of income, maybe restart a career, maybe go into entrepreneurship. So make sure you put in the comments or wherever you are viewing or listening to this podcast, and let us know if you want some more resources, because we are really excited about digging into tools and experts for financial resources for us all.
And I want to ask you guys an interesting question. How will you know, or what status will you have to be on before you'll know, like, oh, I made it? My wife and I were talking the other day financially, and I was like, man, I just was talking randomly. I was like, you know what? When we build our dream house and I have a lake where I can just go out there and fish, that's when I'm be like, oh, I made it. Like I made it. Like when I can go out there at any time and just, man, I love to fish. What about you? Do you have any idea of what that moment will look like for you? Like, oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. You talked about that, but I didn't. For myself, it's gonna have something to do with like the grandchildren or the great grandchildren, or it's gonna be maybe that moment when you and I think I might know. Maybe when I know that we're able to take care of multiple people in our family, like our elders are taken care of, we are taken care of, and our children, we're able to help our grandchildren, and then I'm able to see us like travel and experience life, and we're able to afford helping everybody. And I'm kind of working through this as I'm talking to you, but then also being able to give our family the financial tools so they can also do it.
Yeah.
I think once I see that, then I'll be like, oh yeah, we made it. Because it's like so many boxes that are like checked. And when I can know that we're doing it from like a sincere place in our heart, not to boast or brag about it, but we're actually serving our family and then our community, and like God is proud, smiling at us. So yeah, I think for me, it's gonna take a little while to kind of see that.
Yeah. So we kind of reversed yours, but last question.
Yeah.
So what was some of the most fruitful seasons of your life financially?
Yeah, I don't think I've reached mine yet. I'll be entering 40 January. And I think that fruit for me hasn't been in a monetary form yet. I haven't seen it transfer to that yet, as much as I've seen like the richness of life with my relationship with God, or, you know, being able to find you in my later years, and like everything that we're doing now. Like I feel so rich in those aspects of life. And so I'm so grateful that if, Lord forbid, if he was to call me home, like I'd be like, oh, I left, you know, this earth like so rich in those things. But I do, and I'm praying now to see the resources and the monetary blessings so that they can transfer over to the next generation. So I haven't seen that yet.
Man, that's good. So yeah, we are all touching and agreeing. Every listener, everybody that may stumble upon this, we are just praying just for wisdom.
Yeah.
To receive increase, and not just for ourselves, but so that we could help somebody else, that we can, again, like she said, just be able to pass on these tools to teach others how to obtain wealth as well. So we're going to keep working at it, y'all. We're not giving up until we get it, because we have work to do. And again, don't stop dreaming. Man, there's so many of us at this age that have really kind of just settled on, this is life. And it's absolutely not. You have so much life ahead of you. You have so many things in store that God wants to do, that he has for you. And so we just want to encourage you to keep dreaming. Dream again. Dream bigger. Dream bigger. Think bigger. There's nothing too hard for God. There's nothing impossible to him. And so as we increase our faith, we're just asking, you know, we just want to just connect our faith to yours, so that we can all go after what God has for us.
Yeah, and I want to encourage them too before we leave. Anybody that's listening, I just want to encourage us all in this season. We are living in such a fruitful time of entrepreneurship and creativity and things that God has put in us to be manifested on earth. Now millionaires are popping up everywhere because God has $1 million ideas inside of all of us, multi-million-dollar ideas in all of us. And so I just want to encourage anybody under the sound of my voice to pull that $1 million idea, that vision, that dream out of you for your family, for legacy, multi-million. Believe and have the faith that God can do it. It's inside of us. It's a passion. It's a dream. It's something that you've been seeing that this world needs, that your community needs, maybe that consumers need. And I know for Mario and I, there has been we have a clear business that we know can take us to the next level. And we have other businesses that line up right after that we are working on diligently to see them unfold and to see them manifest. Write the plan down, make it plain, start praying. If you have to go into a fast as we're ending 2023, and really start asking God questions, jotting them down, the notes in your phone, writing it down, and just really asking him the questions, writing down the vision, and then executing that vision and believing that those things can come to pass in your life, and then praying for the right people, the right resources, the right knowledge to come so that you can manifest that thing. Because as the years of the 40 Plus podcast go by, I want to be able to come back to this video and look at this again. I want to be able to personally talk to so many people that in this season, you aren't the millionaire. In this season, you don't have multi-millions in your account. But as the years go by, that we'll be talking in the future, and we'll be talking about the goodness of God and all of the things that we've been able to see him do within the years to come. And so I just want to encourage anybody that's listening to this, that we are at the beginning of such a beautiful season in our life, and for us to believe and really have the faith that these things are coming to pass. God has been working it out since the beginning of our lives.
The rest of your lives will be the best of your life. Y'all agree with that? Type that in. The rest of your life will be the best of your life. Let's say it one more time until you believe it. The rest of your life will be the best of your life. If you believe that, type I believe. And be encouraged, y'all. Again, thank you for joining the 40 Plus podcast. We took a slightly different turn today just so you can kind of get to know your host a little bit better. But next week, we're right back with powerful information, powerful guests. And so just join us every Wednesday as we debut our new episodes. We got a few more in season 1. I'll take a slight break. Coming back to season 2, even bigger.
And I'm so excited too because I'm laughing, y'all, because I'm the one that's always trying to share the information, right? So remember I told y'all, write the vision, make it plain. And so there are so many exciting things that are going on behind the scenes for the 40 Plus podcast that you guys don't know about. I don't want my husband to kill me for sharing them too early. But when I'm trying to tell y'all, like, this is just the beginning of this podcast with us sitting here in front of you, having guests on. But we have already been in meetings talking about live events. We already have been in meetings talking about more things that can come from this. And so I'm not going to give them away because I got to get approval off camera before I say anything or I'm going to be in trouble. But let me tell y'all, you want to make sure you stay connected.
Stay connected.
Absolutely.
Stay connected. And help us spread the word. Make sure you're telling friends and family because, again, our reach is only so far, but with you, we can reach the world. So we love y'all. God bless. Have a great, great, great week.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in to the 40 Plus podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Marie Brown.
Mario J. Brown.
Thank you guys for tuning in. See you next week.
All right.